We are recording. What is up, world? John Shoot here with another PufCreativ podcast. Today, I have the pleasure of being with with Goldie. Goldie, is it Goldie? How do I pronounce your last name?
Solodar.
Goldie Solodar of City Sessions, one of my favorite local Denver companies. Goldie, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, John. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Besides, both of us have upper back and neck pain. We need to get
Yeah,
some
that
hemp and CBD going this morning.
exactly.
Goldie, I love your outfit. I love you so much. You're one of my favorite people in the cannabis industry. Before we dive into your story a little bit, because I think that it's a beautiful thing always learning like how people, got cannabis involved in their life and how they got in the industry. Tell us a little bit about City Sessions and what is City Sessions.
Yeah. So City Sessions has evolved over the years into a cannabis tourism and lifestyle brand. We specialize in immersive experiences of the Colorado cannabis industry with an educational focus. I've identified education to be the biggest gap in cannabis. So, whether you're on a new to cannabis tour, a medical relief tour, you're just on a recreational tour, or an investor looking to kind of understand the business of cannabis a little bit more, there's always an educational aspect to the tour. So you understand how to navigate the product line to select products and strains based on a desired effect you're looking to achieve or ailment that you're looking to combat. And then when I say immersive, we walk through gardens, labs, dispensaries, and then we get out and we explore colorful Colorado food, art, nature, beer, all while you elevate along the way if you choose to.
That was like the best description ever. I totally agree. I feel like education is just, especially like being in marketing, it's like you can never have too much education in cannabis. Um, yeah, and it's interesting to see like even in Colorado being such a mature market, how there's still that gap all around consumer business, investor. So it's a beautiful thing what you're doing. And just hearing you talk about it, it's like, wow, that's like every single thing I love about life is like incorporated into City Sessions. Um, that so we'll circle back to City Sessions. Where I want to know a little bit about more about you personally. Where did you grow up actually? Like where are you from?
Okay, I grew up in a small town in upstate New York called Hunter Mountain. It's nestled
Oh,
in the Catskills.
yeah, Hunter Mountain. I used to snowboard there when I was younger.
Yeah, and that's where Mountain Jam happens,
Yeah,
the Warren Haynes Festival.
yeah, Mountain Jam. That's right. Yeah, that was actually I think one of my best friend's first festivals. Um, yeah, is Mountain Jam still happening? Or I mean, obviously not because of COVID, but I wonder if they're gonna come back.
I think they're gonna come back. I gotta tell
I
you,
hope
like
so.
Mountain Jam helped like redirect my business. When I first got started in 2014, I launched City Sessions and I kind of freaked out because I didn't know how to load a bus of people. When I wrote my initial business plan, it was to do party style bus tours. And I freaked out and I went back east to clear my head. And I'm sitting on the mountain listening to Bob Weir and Rat Dog, smoking weed. And I'm like, what am I doing with myself right now? Like, I don't know how to load a bus of people. And that's like when I decided to switch gears and offer private custom tours of the industry out of my Honda CRV at the time. So it was like very interesting. But Mountain
Wow.
Jam, Mountain Jam,
No
a special
way.
place in my heart.
I feel like it's so. I feel like I've heard so many people like have that moment on the hill where they're like, I had like a life-changing experience on the hill during Mountain Jam. That's awesome. So you're from New York, which is like I'm from New Jersey, kind of similar experience in regards to cannabis. We had local drug dealers who we'd buy our weed off of. We didn't have access to dispensaries. It was illegal. Was there like a point, when you're growing up when like cannabis entered your life and it stuck kind of thing, or like when did that happen?
Yeah. So, I mean, I like to joke that I'm from like the land of the hippies. I'm like 40 minutes
Yeah, the
outside of
Catskills.
Woodstock.
Yeah,
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 right.
yeah.
And my dad is like this like far out, like hippie entrepreneur. He still wears like a Canadian tuxedo, jean on jean with like a dead shirt in the middle. So cannabis is
That
always
makes
just kind of
sense. That makes sense.
I actually wear jean on jean often, and people are like, I love your look. And I'm like, I stole it from my dad.
I've definitely seen you in Jean on Jean action for sure.
So I think that like when I think back to like my first experiences with cannabis, I really got into it like initially when I was 16. And you know, it was a very like open, normal thing in my house. Not that I was smoking weed around my parents, but they knew we were consuming, my brother and I, in our home. And the rule was like, do what you want to do, just stay home. You're not to go anywhere. So
Yeah,
it
don't
was
get in
pretty,
trouble.
yeah, exactly. So it was
Yeah.
pretty normal. But I would say, you know, I had a little bit of trouble when I got to college in terms of just finding my footing. I had already been away at school for 4 years at a sports academy for ski racing. So like
Oh,
the
no way.
transition, yeah, I went
So you grew up skiing at Hunter Mountain.
I grew up skiing Hunter Mountain, and then I went to Lake Placid for 4 years of high school.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, you know, I
That's
went to
really cool.
college. Thank you. It was a very cool chapter of my life. But when I went to college, I couldn't really find my footing. Like I didn't want to be on the ski team, and I'm also not like a really big drinker, and that's very confusing when you're, you know, in college to not really take to alcohol.
Yeah.
So I started chasing live music and smoking weed, and that was like another pivotal point in my cannabis use. And then when I moved to Colorado, actually, John, I didn't know anyone. I sold my car, packed my bags, and moved to Colorado. I just like had a feeling that this is where I was supposed to be. And someone gifted me a bag of weed. And I called my dad and I was like, Dad, someone just gifted me a bag of weed. And he's like, what? And I'm like, right? Because that would never happen in New York. And then someone gifted,
Yeah.
never,
Yeah,
never.
it's true. It never.
And then so someone gifted me another bag of weed, and I'm like, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. So
Yeah, now that I think about it, like, yeah, people just give me like an ounce of weed like casually. Like it's like, oh yeah, dude, this is my organic, custom, homegrown. It was Bob Weir's father started this strain, and it's like, here, take this.
when that happens, you're like, this is such a normal part of culture. And I
Yeah,
moved here in late
but like coming
2008.
from New York, it's like I originally I was like, oh my God, like that same feeling, like it's kind of cool, and then now it's like a normal thing, because yeah, that's so awesome.
It was awesome. So yeah,
Did
I
you that kind of makes me just think, like, circling back, like the whole cannabis music thing, um did you just like kind of have this like realization of like how like cannabis enhances that experience and like how it was like good for you? Is that kind of how that evolved a little bit?
Yeah, you know, when I was in high school, you know, we would do these big workouts, and then we come back to the dorms and we would shower. And I just remember like my friends putting on like Bob Marley, Dispatch, Slightly Stupid. We were kind of just like exploring like reggae and like Fish and just like Rusted Root, these different genres of
Yeah, love
music.
the fish drop.
Right, totally. And then when I went to college, I didn't know what I was seeking really. I mean, I was really seeking culture more than anything. And I think that music is like this outlet into a cultural experience. And it got me away from like this frat scene party that was going on at University of New Hampshire. And I found myself pretty regularly at this place called the Stone Church,
Yeah,
right outside of campus. And John Brown's Body would come through, Rack, and it was just these smaller jam bands. But I would find that I would like take off my shoes in this bar and like smoke weed and dance. And it was just like a very connecting experience to myself. And
yeah,
also, it was a massive release in terms of like purging that like energy that kind of just builds up inside you. So, like, music and cannabis is very therapeutic, I find.
yeah, I agree. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, I find it the same thing. It's like, yeah, same thing with me, and like, yeah, music art, extreme sports, like I kind of find that zone, that release that you're talking about. I feel like it's so good for people like once they're able to like harness that. Um, Interesting. So, okay, so you mentioned 2014 is around when City Sessions started. You were in Colorado. Um, how did that like how has that evolved over the years and kind of like where are you at now? Like what's anything exciting that you like anything that you're really excited about right now? I know COVID obviously was probably a shitstorm for you you know, in the beginning, but you know, it's really cool to see you back in action. I see you on Instagram, like I love following you. Like what's going on with City Sessions these days?
You know, city sessions definitely took a hit last year, and the business model kind of blew up, and I had to let go of my team. And I mean, I had some stellar people working with me. But I ended up, redirecting. I ran all the tours last year, which was really cool for me because it was an opportunity to kind of get back um, like in front of the guest and really kind of hone in on this education and what's sticking and what was not sticking. It also was a very humbling experience last year because my business is really built off of other people's businesses. It's a community-based platform. And I've been doing this now this is my 7th year that I'm in. And my partners just showed
Congratulations.
up for me.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. Like, how many
it's
businesses fail in the first year, couple of years? You know, it's tough.
totally. And yeah, my partners just like really showed up for me last year. And I know that was not the case for other tourism businesses. And I just know that's not the case in general for a lot of businesses that worked off
Yeah.
of, especially hospitality at the end of the day. So just
Would you
very
say it's because it
grateful.
was cannabis related, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, cannabis was deemed essential. But I mean, the ask of what I was asking my partners for last year was very big. I was asking them to please gain me access into the back end of their grows during a pandemic with
Yeah.
tourists, so I
Oh
mean,
no,
like,
I meant more along the lines of like, do you think it's because like, you know, cannabis is like kind of like this beautiful thing and like you're so passionate about it and like, you know, if it wasn't that type of industry, you might have not received that type of like help, I guess.
um, yes and no. I mean, I think that it's beyond cannabis. I really believe that like anything else in business, it's really based on that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I have amazing relationships. I work with amazing people in this industry that chose to look beyond what was going on with them and recognize that they had a brand partner out there that was, having a hard time, and how can they make it work for us all?
Yeah.
And there was definitely an adjustment, and I definitely had to kind of look through their lens as well. And through looking through their lens, it was really like I needed to take responsibility for these tours. Like I needed to make sure that I was managing the situation. So I took on all the tours last year. I ran business throughout the entire year. It was
Yeah.
awesome. It was very connecting. And now that we're in 2021, I just set up a new office space downtown. Another
Congrats.
community, thank you. Another community that I'm involved with outside the cannabis industry delivered space for me and support for me last year. And I have my new office. I just hired 2 part-time guides, these fabulous women who have as much passion for cannabis as I have. And really just kind of rebuilding the tourism part of this business today. We had an amazing April, so no complaints there except my neck hurts.
Yeah. Too much work.
Too much work. And then my plans for the future are very interesting right now. You know, the pandemic really redirected me and kind of opened up new potential. So I'm just kind of looking into what is possible right now. I'm not really ready to kind of divulge what I want to do, but
Yeah.
just kind of looking into the possibilities of what could be in scaling city sessions. I just got a really cool email from a past client who who really wants to, start getting into the industry more through his marketing agency. And, told me in an email that Richmond, now that Virginia just passed, Richmond is like this center point where half the American population lives within a 500-mile radius of Richmond, and like City Sessions East might be a really nice possibility. So it's really cool that community is
Oh yeah,
even
like
kind of,
mimicking it in each city, and that's awesome.
yeah, exactly. And it's interesting that my community kind of still thinks of this business after they've taken a tour and like where it might be viable elsewhere, So I don't know, I'm just like really open to all the possibilities. And I'm like you, I love being in business because it allows me to be creative and figure out where my next move is and not really have to
Yeah,
focus on what everyone else is doing.
yeah,
Um,
it's a beautiful thing.
it's a
It's
beautiful,
a
it's
it's
a
a it's
beautiful
totally a
thing.
it's totally a hustle though, but it's a beautiful thing.
My boyfriend sent me a like a meme of a hamster on a wheel, and it said like life of an entrepreneur, and I'm like, this hamster's just making me tired looking at him.
Dude, I know it is a hustle. I have so much respect for you. I like, again, like, you're running your business, you're doing tours, you're posting on your social media all the time. Um, it's impressive. You deserve everything that's coming to you, Goldie.
Thank you.
Where's the best place for people to find you right now? I know citysessionsdenver.com, and then City Sessions Denver on Instagram, correct?
Yep. So, yeah, both of those are great. I mean, depending on what you really want to do, I think more than anything, I probably just want to encourage people to follow us on Instagram just to kind of get a sense of who we are and the story
Yeah.
that we tell around cannabis and how to incorporate it into lifestyle. Also, these tours are amazing. So if you find yourself coming to Colorado, I obviously recommend a tour. They're
Yeah, I will
they're
plug
very
in links
special
to all of this
experiences.
stuff.
They're
So
very
people,
they're very special experiences. And I like to say that we stamp people's souls. You remember your great experiences in life, not the shoes you bought last year. So
for sure.
it's like definitely a goal of mine to make sure that anyone that comes through the business really just has an elevated experience. And I'm Denver's greatest ambassador. So um, let me show you what our city's all about.
Yeah, there's a lot of hidden gems here, and you know them all.
Yes, I
And
do.
I will say, yeah, I have, like, I consider myself like a varsity cannabis consumer here in Colorado. But even with products that I have tried before, I still have learned how to incorporate them into my routine by following your Instagram. And I've also learned things about the products that I didn't actually know in the past by following you as well. So definitely a great follow. Goldie, thank you so much for being on my podcast. I really, really appreciate you. You're a gem, and despite the neck and back pain that we're both experiencing, I think we crushed this one. So thank you for your time.
I do too. Thank you, John. It's always a pleasure.